For my personal worst character in Battlefront 2 and the last placement on this list, we have Finn. He seems like he could be good for some, against some AI, maybe in co-op, but I don't think he's really that good against duels and 1v1s, things such as heroes versus villains or hero showdown, and that's why he's at the bottom of this list, but that's just my personal ranking. For the lowest on the dark side, I would rank Bosk. He's not a boss though. I don't really like Bosk. I personally think that any of the blasters like Aiden or Phasma could be way better than Bosk, and I think that it's just personally me because I've seen some crazy Bosk players, max level and even way, crazy higher level than even any of my good characters. And that's why I think that it's just my personal ranking here. And Bosk is actually really good outside of my own. But for me, I don't really like his character that much. For number 20 is Captain Phasma. She has some pretty good abilities. Her staff strikes do a decent amount of damage, almost as much as a lightsaber, and can knock enemies back if you hit all 3 strikes in a row. Her droid basically can stun enemies, creating like an endless minefield of danger that if you stay in it, you're practically unkillable unless you're fighting against a good player, which can pull you out of it or draw you away from it. And as for the third ability, which gives you extra health and reduced damage, that just adds on to all of it, and it makes it really easy to kill players who are not paying attention to what they're doing. Next in the ring is BB9E. This is personally one of my favorite characters, mainly because I can be one of the most annoying little tiny goblin, nuisances in the entire world, because with BB9E, every time that you zap someone, there is a chance that it will stun them, basically making it impossible for them to attack you or move for about a second and a half. This gives you the ability to annihilate pretty much anything as long as the person playing a hero is not very good or, isn't paying full attention and doesn't take you very seriously. Even though I like him, I can't really put BB9E higher on the list because generally he won't be very good against villains unless you have a teammate helping you or if the person that you're fighting is not very good. Now for Boba Fett, I like him, but I'm not very good at using him. A max level Boba player can completely annihilate you. All he has to do is fly around, dodge you, and if you don't have a character that can pull him out of the sky, there's pretty much no chance of you taking him down. I guess you could shoot him, but it still isn't very easy. You have to literally shoot a moving, flying target going up and down and side to side, all just trying to dodge your attacks and shoot you at the same time. So it's pretty much an impossible feat to kill a max level Boba player. Usually when I get the light side, I'll pick any other character like Lando or Han Solo or even Chewbacca, who I'm arguably way better at playing, but sometimes I will go for Leia. She's good in certain situations. I've been able to kill Darth Vader with her a few times, and her E11 blaster can completely annihilate a player that doesn't block, and that's another tip for any new players. You need to block more. I've noticed a lot of them, they don't block that much, and that's their downfall because they can just be annihilated from a distance by a blaster character. And her bombs can blow up things. They don't do enough damage to kill, a character with all 3, but that combined with her blaster can definitely take something down. And the shield only adds to really help, if you have another blaster character who can't run very well like you can, then you can just put down that shield and basically use it like a home base, almost like how Phasma has her zap droid. You can use the shield as basically a minefield where you can stay safe while your enemies can't. BB-8 is another one of those characters that you can highly underestimate and end up dying to because of that. A good BB-8 player can completely annihilate a group of enemy heroes, and it's all in that cable spin. You can basically ram into people to knock them over and then cable spin, and it can completely annihilate them while you're barely taking any damage. It's crazy. Next up is Iden Versio at number 15. All of her abilities are pretty good. Her special alternate fire for her blaster, which creates the bombs, is really powerful, and it's especially good in like a 2v2 or 2v1 situation where it can just blow up 2 enemies at once or damage a lightsaber character while they're still blocking. It's pretty good, and I personally think that Iden is one of the best blasters on the dark side. Next on the list is Chewbacca. Pretty much everything about him is powerful, or at least pretty well rounded. His normal blaster can go through lightsabers, which is crazy, so you can't block it. You can also do alternate fire, which has an explosion, which is when you focus in while shooting, and that can create an explosion which does area effect damage, which is even better, so you can damage multiple enemies at once. Then his shot grenade can stun things, his slam can knock any enemy in a certain area, as long as they're not blocking of course, onto the ground, and his furious bowcaster basically gives him incredibly powerful, even more powerful bullets, and he can fire them faster, and in general, he's really powerful. I usually just don't use him that much, and I would go for something else, such as Han Solo or Lando Calrissian. Now, Anakin, he's a tricky subject, because on one hand, he is one of the best characters in the game. I know this. Everybody uses him all the time, and it is obvious that he is one of the most powerful characters in the game. Some people even think that he's still broken, even though that he's been fixed and weakened over and over again. The thing is, I'm not very good with him. I prefer to use any of the other light side characters, even blasters, and I'm not very good with using him specifically as a lightsaber character. And that's why he's at the bottom of the lightsaber characters on this list, but it's just my personal opinion. Remember, that's what all of this is on this list. Lando Calrissian, he's been one of my favorite characters from the beginning of playing this game, and now that I don't really use him as much, I still think that he's pretty good. I think that his electricity zap, whatever the thing is called, that basically electrocutes everything around him, is incredibly powerful, and the fact that most people can't even block it, that is really powerful. And if you can get all your shots off, and specifically headshots, it will kill them in that one charge. Starting off the big ones at number 11, it is Darth Maul. He's mainly good for being really, really quick and chipping away at his opponents over time. You can't necessarily go in and chop up your enemy in like 5 seconds. You have to be really quick. Otherwise, you're probably not going to be able to survive, since Darth Maul doesn't have that much health, and if he gets hit too much, his health won't regenerate up to max again, which really, really hampers his ability to do that much in a fight. So that's why his main abilities are good for dashing, throwing your lightsaber in and then running away and then dashing back, and, being really tactical and patient, but also really fast and quick with what you do. Here at number 10, we have fake Darth Vader, also known as Kylo Ren. His pull is really powerful. It can pull enemies off of ledges or just pull them right to you so you can easily get a few hits in. His freeze can do basically the same thing, freeze your opponent and then go in and attack them over and over again, and they can't do much until they unfreeze and they fall and they have to get back up. And as for its frenzy, if you do a mix of pull, freeze, and frenzy, you can do some pretty powerful stuff against your enemy, because they're just getting pulled, they're getting frozen, and they're getting hit like 3 times in a row by your lightsaber, and it's pulling you to them as you're doing the frenzy. So there's practically no escape for your enemy as you're killing them with Kylo Ren. But if they are, say, someone like Obi-Wan, who's really good at defending, you might not fend, as well against them. Starting off the top 10 is Emperor Palpatine himself, the Emperor of the Galaxy. He's really good at dodging mainly and maneuvering around your enemies, such as jumping, dodging, generally trying to keep a distance from your enemy and zap them. And every time that they let up their guard for 1 second, you have to take your shot at zapping them to death, basically. But if you take every shot you can, they can't really do much. They would have to knock you down and damage you enough before you get up and dodge to kill you, and that's really difficult against especially a max level Palpatine player.
8 is Count Dooku, one of my favorite characters to play in the game, or at least in the past it was. Now I mainly use characters higher on the list or even lower on the list, but Count Dooku is still a really good lightsaber character to use in general. He's really quick, his stamina is really big, and generally really, good among lightsaber characters. His damage is incredibly high if you can get all your abilities on or onto the enemy, because you can weaken them, you can use your duelist to do even more damage, and you can zap your enemy to get them on the ground and then hit them a few times super quick, and they're dead. And that's basically it. Just easily annihilates any character that doesn't have their guard up or their block or whatever. Next at number 7 is Master Yoda of the Jedi Order. This tiny little green frogman is incredibly fast but has low health. His presence ability can actually help a lot with this by increasing your health to a certain degree and the health of your nearby, teammates, and it can knock you out of the air if you're being choked, which is really helpful. His dash attack can go through blocks, basically making it impossible to protect against him if you're fighting against Yoda. And his push just adds on to all of it, so that's why I'm putting Yoda pretty high. I just like him more than Anakin. Han Solo is arguably the best blaster character in all of Battlefront 2, and he can even rival characters like Darth Vader in skill, depending on how good your enemy player is. You can camp with him by planting your bomb on the ground and then waiting for someone to come by, then blow him up and then shoot him. You can even throw it out in the middle of a fight and hit him, and even possibly do more damage to the character that you're fighting if you have certain cards on. His shoulder bash can easily damage and even knock over lightsaber characters if you really position yourself well and use it at a perfect time. And his sharpshooter is really good against characters that can't block or are just really bad at blocking in general. Starting off the final 5 is General Grievous himself. This guy is not running away this time. In Battlefront 2, he has 3 abilities. His lightsaber spin, which basically allows him to charge forward with spinning lightsabers, and anything that stands in front of him is basically gonna get hit over and over and over again. And if you try to hit him during this, you're probably not gonna have that much success. But if you don't turn very much while using it, someone can hit you from behind. His crawl can easily knock over basically anything in your path, and from there you can cancel it, get up, and hit the person that you're fighting a few times, at least once, theoretically and realistically. And as for his thrust attack, where he basically uses all of his lightsabers and tries to stab you, he can basically pull himself to the enemy and then hit them, knocking them over and giving you another chance to hit them with any of the other abilities maybe, or just hit them in general, which makes him really, really powerful, especially if you're a max level Grievous. Those are the most terrifying things in the world. At number 4 is Rey, probably one of the most unpopular opinions on this list. I really like her because she's really, really powerful, and her abilities are super annoying if you're using them against basically anyone in the game. You can use insight to see where any of your enemies are through walls. Then you can use your mind trick to make them unable to turn, basically, and their controls are all reversed. And then you can dash into them, knocking them over, and with certain star cards you can do more damage to them if they have insight and mind trick on, which is just crazy. So that makes her, if you know how to master her, one of the fastest and most powerful and most damaging characters in the game and on the light side. And that's why I think that she is basically worthy of the 4th spot. Not her character in the movies, but her character in the games is pretty good. Number 3 is Luke Skywalker. I think most people knew that he'd be up here at least in the top 5, and I put him at 3 because although I don't use Luke that much, I do know that I perform well while using him. His lightsaber strikes are stronger than most of them, it seems. He attacks incredibly fast, and he's basically like a light side version of Darth Maul, but with more health, more damage, and generally way easier to use than Darth Maul himself. And that's why I'm putting him at number 3, because Luke is basically the pinnacle of the light side's power.
I'm just kidding, because that title goes to Obi-Wan Kenobi himself, basically the original Jedi of the original trilogy of Star Wars movies. This guy is mainly used for blocking. All of his stuff is defensive. That's his fighting style. And that's what he's really, really good at. His max health is close to 900, but he regenerates all of it back. Basically all of it back, depending on what star cards you have. Even if he takes 500 damage, there's a high chance he'll get nearly all the way back up to full health when he regenerates his health. Plus, he has abilities that disable the dark side user's abilities on the other team and pushes them, and you can run and slash them from behind, almost like Rey's dash attack. And in general, if you're really patient, you will win most fights. And of course, at the end of the line, everybody knows this, everybody believes it, Darth Vader is the #1 best hero in Battlefront 2. Practically anyone can use him, and someone that knows how to use him well, such as a max level Vader, is pretty much the most powerful, incomprehensible, impossible to defeat thing in all of Battlefront. Nothing can compare to the power of a true Vader. Not only does he start out with close to 1,000 health, with his abilities, he can get well over 1,000 health, along with damage reduction, extra damage, and a longer force choke, so he can choke anything in his path and kill anything in his way, and there's practically no one that can defeat a true max level Darth Vader besides maybe another max level Darth Vader. As for now though, thanks to everyone for watching. This has been a fun little video that I've made, and I wanted to put out my opinion on which one of these characters I think is actually good and which one I think is not. And especially after seeing that Battlefront is kind of being restored lately and a lot of people are getting on, it's kind of nice to see, you know, all these videos about Battlefront finally resurging after years of lying dormant basically in the back of channels. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye. Also make Battlefront 3 spread the word.